All right, we are done with bag number one, done in the previous video or previous portion of this video, depending on how I crop them together. I am moving on to bag number two. I have all the components laid out this time, ready to go. So we've got 4 LEDs, another little, circuit board just for joining them all together, which I will never get to focus. 4 replacement little, Lego yellow translucent or clear caps, and then just another black long extension wire. And what it looks to be is that basically we will be taking the pieces out of the lower, I don't know if they're like running lights or whatever, but out of those barrels in the front on the left and the right side, 4 of them, and replacing them with the yellow ones with the LEDs in them. So I'm going to get started on that. Focus. There we go. Okay. So again, we're just working from photos that they've included on their website. So the first step is to basically pull the existing barrels off, right? Get them separated into pieces. Run the LED through the black piece and put the new yellow cap over it. And then reassemble. And then we work underneath the car, running the wires, sticking that little circuit board to the underside of the car, and running that black wire all the way down the length of the vehicle, presumably to get back to as close to the rear hatch as possible, because I believe they expect that you put your battery box in the rear of the vehicle. So let's get started. Like I said, I think all you have to do is just kind of twist these off. Yeah, they pop right off. So I can't remember. Didn't even build this thing more than, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and I've already forgotten how it all went together. Okay, so those 4 are separated. I'm going to temporarily set the car aside. And basically it says to take them apart, which looks like the easiest way would be to use something to push from the bottom side on that little white thing to pop that little black piece out, which I have here. So I'll do that on all 4 of these. These want to roll away on me. So all 4 of those removed. And just looking ahead. Oh, so unlike the previous step, because they have that little white thing on the bottom, there's no way to get the wire or the plug through that little tiny hole. So what they actually have you do is just pop the clear existing lens off, set that aside, take one of the LEDs, and again make sure that the LED portion of it, right, not the soldered end, but the LED side of it, is facing upwards. And this is, you kind of have to hold it a little weird. But basically you're going to put that in place and then use the friction of putting the replacement yellow cap over that LED to hold it in place. That is really awkward. See if I can. God, I don't know how you do that without pinching the wires. Let me stare at these instructions for a little bit. No, that's exactly what they want you to do. So yeah, we'll just set that LED kind of over the hole, right? And then what's really awkward is you're actually putting in this little yellow piece upside down, so you're actually you're filling that entire void with the round part of the clear yellow piece, so I mean you're pinching that wire pretty good. Just got to make sure the LED itself goes down in the hole a little bit. That makes me feel really nervous. I mean, it does seem to work, but again, just be careful. So I've got that wire, kind of sticking out the side, that new lens sitting on there. Do not wiggle that wire back and forth. It'll probably snap off. So yeah, I'm going to do that 4 more times. I'm not going to be able to show you on the camera, but I can see the LED is facing the right way inside there. Okay, let me check that first one. Yeah, looks good. So you kind of put the LED just a little bit inside the little black piece there, and then when you put the yellow piece in there, it kind of tightens up the wire a little bit and basically pulls the LED so where it's basically sitting almost flat against the bottom of the piece that you just stuck in. So that's why it's able to still project the light out. It forces it into place. Okay, so all 4 of those are assembled how they should be. After that, we run the wire back through the barrel. Again, making sure you can set this piece inside. So stick the little white plug into the wide opening. And then make sure that the white end goes in first. Just being careful not to pinch the wire when I push that white piece all the way in. Okay, looks like it should be safe. Okay, so that is 1 assembled unit. Rinse and repeat. I'm just kind of making sure that the wire's tucked flat up against the edge of the little black piece here, so there's nothing extra sticking out. Which I actually have a little bit of wire bunched up there, so I'm going to push that or pull that back out just a little, and kind of keep the wire tight with my fingers on the back to make sure it stays right up against the barrel, or the black piece. But it really doesn't want to. Why is this one bunching up on me? Just gonna hold the wire with my finger this time. Yeah, there we go. Just make sure the wire doesn't bunch up too much, because you don't want to lose any slack either, because you might not have as much room as you think you do. Alright. 2. I'm going to stop talking for these 2. I'm going to see on the very bottom, the bottom of the barrel is actually like the plus sign looking shape. You're not going to see it on the camera. Just make sure the wire is actually in one of those little grooves that makes up what I would consider the plus sign. That way it doesn't get pinched. Now, it'd be really probably hard to cause that to happen, but you just make sure it's not on the point. So when you push that white piece through, it doesn't actually try to snip the wire. So much for not talking. now that we've done that, now what? Looks like we installed them with the wires facing down. Like I said, the circuit board ends up underneath the vehicle that these are all going to join to. So basically, we're going to put those back on the vehicle. Again, I think this is going to be just like before, where there's those grooves, but you don't place the wire in the grooves. You place it right in the middle, kind of like that, and just don't pinch it. I'm going to reinstall each of those. Awkwardly while I'm trying to make sure I'm on video correctly. Okay, that's one. That's two. You can kind of see that. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of making sure the wires are hanging down to kind of help themselves to being pressed up against there. Okay, so those four are all hooked up. See that? Yeah. Okay. After we have done that, it looks like, just like before, we're going to plug each of those four wires into the outer two on each side of that little circuit board. So this little thing here, we're going to use the outer two on each side. And then it looks like after we do that, oh yeah, and then we plug in that black wire into, I guess it'd be the third from the left. It shouldn't matter. It's the thing providing power, basically. And then we use adhesive, which is on the back of the little circuit board, to stick it underneath the portion of the suspension that goes between the two tires, two wheels. So I'm going to get this plugged into the circuit board up front without lifting the car, since that's going to be quite awkward. And as far as I know, yeah, I don't have to route the wires through anything. We're just going to get them all connected. So now the circuit board, all the wires, it will face forward because the wires look like they're going to be fairly short. So it'll actually be upside down like that, stuck to the bottom side. So yeah, it really shouldn't matter which ones you plug it into at all. As far as like which one on the left and which left side is on the outer or the inner of the outer two. Again, using my fingernail to push on the white plug so I don't bend the wire while doing it. That's two. Do the other side. Sorry, my hand is blocking the video. Plug in that black wire now, may as well. Okay, So that circuit board is all wired up. It's not going to focus, but whatever. There we go. Okay, so as far as I can tell, we're just supposed to, how can I safely flip this? I'm going to lay it on its, yeah, this side doesn't really have much on the side of the vehicle, so I'm going to lay it on its right side. It's probably safest. It is the opposite of what they are doing in the actual photos, but there's less stuff to worry about. So now that it's on its side, there's a spot right here, this little gray piece in between the wheels. That's where they want the piece stuck via the adhesive, which is exactly how much wire you have. I don't know if you can see that. Like, you really do not have any slack. So those outer two wires are pulled, you know, pretty tight, getting that right where it needs to be, which is great because then they won't sag. But yeah, I'm gonna pull that adhesive backing off and stick this right there. Again, something that would be better if I actually had some fingernails. Just peeling that white backing off. What I do have, tweezers. This tweezer kit that I have is amazing. I'll put a link in the description of the video to the little kit that I use. I'm using it for building other models. I've started building some of those Eagle Moss 1/8 scale die-cast models of the DeLorean, the Ecto-1, of course, and eventually the Gone in 60 Seconds, the newer one, with Nick Cage, the Eleanor, the Mustang. So, none of them are finished. Alright, so I've got that adhesive off, and I'm just making sure these are pretty well tight, and I'm just pressing that up against that plastic piece so this won't move anymore. Alright, that's pretty well stuck on there. Again, just to get a shot of how that's on there. Okay. As far as next steps, looks like we take the black wire from the first bag, which is coming out of the engine bay, and the wire from this bag, that new black wire. We run them together along the length of the frame until we get to what looks like, yeah, so this bar here, the one closest to those two yellow squares. So this bar here, you stick the wire, these are those Lego Technic pieces with holes through them for structure. So we'll stick the wires through here and create a loop, kind of making sure that the wires stay good and secure against, up against the bottom of the car. And then I think after that, that's it. They just sit there loose. So we'll connect them later, I guess. All right, so I'm going to try to do that now. I'm going to leave the camera sitting right here. All right, so we've got our two black cables. Pull these together. They are not the same length, so that's going to be fun. Of course, in the photos, they look like they're practically the same length. That is extremely far from the truth. Actually, to keep them up against the frame, it actually looks like right up here at the front side, you might send it through one of those holes as well. Because otherwise you'd have to pull it pretty tight to keep it up against the frame. I think they want you to loop it over to the side here to keep it away from the gear. So maybe they do become the same length. And this one from the engine bay is much shorter, of course. But once I loop it through here, it might get a little shorter. So yeah, I'm going to, is that right? Yeah, it definitely is. So from the outside, I'm going to come up and go into that hole. I can't tell if they looped it or not, but it shouldn't really matter as long as it's through there so it can't fall. Of course, they have it laying on the other side, so I'm like doing this reversed. Maybe I will change my mind and flip this on the other side so I'm looking at this the way they are. Alright, so lay it on the right side. Okay. Yeah, so of course I did that wrong. It'd be this hole here. Alright, pull it back out. Yeah, because it should be coming out the same side. You can see the one from the engine bay is down here anyway, which maybe they did feed that up through. Actually, in fact, it kind of does look like they did. So stick that up through here. And let's stick this one up through the exact same hole. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm pulling it up through. Of course, it's black on black, so it's really tough to see. Okay, but anyways, I've got these wires here, and again, they are not the same length. I mean, I've got about, what is that, about an 1.5 inch difference, but we basically need to make it through that little section of frame. I might not loop one of them, the shorter one. Doesn't really seem like it would be necessary, or maybe it is just to keep it taut. Let's check the photos again. Yeah, they make it seem like it'd be the same length, so that is not the case. But they do not actually stick far through there. I'm just going through it, coming back, and going right back through the same hole. Making sure the wire is pulled tight from the front so we have as much slack on the back side as possible. Okay, so that one reaches basically about to that next piece of the frame. Grab the other wire that is a little bit longer. Send it through that same hole. Pull that a little bit tight, send it back through. Okay, again, those are not the same length, but they're both pulled through pretty much the way they were asking for that to be. Okay. And that is it for bag number 2. Looks like the next step is for bag number 3. I believe it looks like it's going to be those 2 little lights right on the front in the grill. So we'll get started on that next.